Hello everyone, I'm Debbie Wilkes, and today on Wide World of Sports we'll be featuring the men's competition from the Panasonic Ontario Cup 84. He is appearing here in his first major international meet since Olympics.
Now, floor exercise is one of Dan's strong events. He's a very powerful, dynamic tumbler. Here's opening, very high double back somersault, good landing, working back into the corner. Now, hopefully Dan will just keep that momentum right through his routine. Second pass, front summy, working right into a double twist. So Dan continuing his momentum, now maybe changing the pace slightly, working into the corners. Here's slowing down, showing a little bit of balance in these corner movements. The gymnasts are required to show balance on the floor as well as their dynamic tumbling. And he'll be working back in to another side tumbling pass. This one, a 1 1/4 front somersault to his hands. Again, a difficult landing because you're not landing on your feet, but on the hands. A lot of pressure on those wrists and arms. Dan showing strength. Nice straight arm, straight body press to handstand. It's been working well. No extra steps, no missed landings. So let's see if he can hold it right through this dismount, which I believe will be another double back somersault. Good height. Oh, it's unfortunate Dan didn't hang on to his tuck quite long enough, and so was a little bit short on that landing. If you watch here, you'll notice that he does get good height on that first double back, which was his mount. But on the landing, first dismount, just a little bit short.
Celebrated, having a little trouble, Dave. Yuji Lee from China.
Now watch the dynamism of this. A double back with a double twist. Mr. Lee is nicknamed Thunder's Thighs, and I think you'll see why. He has incredible punch and power out of those legs. Oh, look at that. A 1 3/4 side somersault. Just amazing control and height. This man is one of the best tumblers in the world without any doubt. Now he'll be slowing down the pace a little bit, showing his balance and control in the handstand positions before we see some of that very high tumbling from Mr. Lee. Always lots of spring, changing directions, lots of good transitions. Working into the corner now.
Fabulous control.
No mistakes so far. It's been very clean. Solid scale, not a quiver. Now you hear that bell. That indicates that the gymnast should be ending his routine very shortly. And an extremely high double back. So high that he did have a little bit of trouble landing on that floor. It was a bit slippery, so his feet popped out from him. But a very exciting routine. Watch the height on this 1 3/4 side. Look at that. He's at least twice as high as his head in the air on that 1 3/4 side.
And Mr. Lee from China scores a 9.55 in his floor exercise. Our last competitor, Georgi Gushogi from Hungary.
Now, Gushogi is known for his work on the pommel horse, but also a very strong competitor on the floor. And there it is, that full-in double back. He's really showing his stuff well. Another double back, that time in a pike. Excellent landings. These men have been performing extremely well on the floor. Now Georgi working into the corner, doing his handstands element, showing his balance. Usually these side passes are not quite as difficult as their major tumbling passes. And now we see a little bit of that double leg circle work on the floor. Very difficult to do on the floor because of the very low clearance. And he's continuing, trying to keep his motion fluid through these corners. It's been a very good routine so far. And his dismount, round off back handspring, another double back. Oh, and he again had trouble on that dismount. A lot of the competitors seem to have had trouble with their footing on this floor. Here we're seeing his double pike dismount. Perfectly straight legs, a tiny hop at the end. A very good routine for Georgi.
9.30 for Georgi Gushogi. Gushogi of Hungary.
Now this is one person we should watch. Georgi has been an international medalist on this event. He has an extremely difficult routine. There we're seeing a Magyar spindle, originated by one of his fellow countrymen, who was a world champion for many years. Georgi is working well, has very high scissor work, as well as that difficult double leg work. No major mistakes so far, working very cleanly. Getting ready for his dismount, right into a travel in a flare position, and finishing a nice high dismount in handstand. Very good routine from Gaudet. Here we're seeing it in slow motion, working, doing a Thomas flare while traveling around the end of the horse. Clean dismount, stuck his landing, and an excellent score, 9.75, tied with Brad Peters.
Dan Gaudet, currently in 6th position.
Now, this is one event that Dan does very well in. He's a very strong competitor. You can see with his mount, a back kick right to cross. Danny works strongly on this event, confidently. You see his straight arm back uprise to handstand right through into another one. Could be working back the other direction now. Watch, let's see if he keeps those rings. So look at that, dead still in the handstand. And moving down for another, right down straight arms to a back lever. Difficult combination. Dan's solid, excellent form on this routine. The rings have been perfectly still. Nice swinging. Let's see if he can nail a good dismount. Giant swing, pull in double back, and sticks that dismount. Excellent routine for Dan. He's very happy with that one.
Let's have a further look at that dismount.
Here we are, moving from his handstand. There's the giant swing, not stopping the handstand in it. Good pull, double back with a full twist, no steps.
They liked it, 9.70 for Dan Gaudet. Now, Mr. Lee, currently in 1st position.
Now, Mr. Lee has a very short body, and so he can really do a lot of strength moves that some of the taller gymnasts can't do. His swing isn't quite as long, but he does have that advantage of extra strength because of his short body size. Nice giant swings, though, forwards and backwards, right to handstand. Now, it is a requirement for the gymnast to incorporate a strength move. There's Mr. Lee's nice solid cross. A little bit long pause. They shouldn't really be stopping very long. Probably just waiting for the correct moment so that the rings will not get swinging. Often the gymnast has to, what we say, kill the swing of the rings to prevent a buildup of the swing. There he is, a giant right into a full twisting double back. Nice routine from Mr. Lee. Here we're looking at his giant swing. Nice straight arms locked in position as he pulls. Excellent routine.
9.45 for Mr. Lee. And the standings for the rings. Dan Gaudet of Canada in 1st, Brad Peters in 2nd, Mr. Lee in 4th. We'll be back with more gymnastics at the Panasonic Cup after this word. Events, we have Dan Gaudet of Canada in 1st place, tied with Mr. Lee. Brad Peters, also of Canada, is in 3rd, and it moves on down. Our next event, the vault. And our first
actually will be doing a backward rotating vault, which is called a Sukahara vault. He'll be doing it in a laid out position. There it is, round off, back somersault. A little bit of a bigger step on the landing, but nice and clean.
How much does that cost him?
Well, depending on how far he moves. He tried to just move 1 foot, and so minimize his deduction to 0.1, but he'll probably lose maybe 0.2 on that.
9.60 for Dan Gaudet. And our last competitor in the vault, leading for 1st place with Dan, Mr. Lee from China.
Now watch when he approaches the vault. The horse is almost as tall as Mr. Lee. There he goes. Good punch off the horse. Handspring front somersault, half twist, and he's always smiling, that guy. He's a great competitor. There goes, very strong punch off the horse, front somersault, and a half twist at the last moment, opening up to stick that landing.
And he scores a 9.70. So let's see what happens with the vault standings now. We have the Bulgarian boy, Penev, in 1st place. Mr. Lee, 2nd. Thorsten Metke also tied for 2nd. Dan Gaudet and Brad Peters are tied for 4th. We have, after 4 events, look, we have Dan Gaudet in 2nd, Brad Peters in 3rd, Mr. Lee is leading. Gaudet.
Now you'll see a little bit more strength in Dan's routine, starting with a planche, you see, and then moving into his swinging elements. Oh, and a 1 1/4 front somersault. Nice risk involved in that. It's a difficult move to do on the parallels. Notice Dan has very good form. Good straight legs, clean routine, a little bit of a bend in the arms. Doing a little bit of an original move. Many people do that Healy twirl that you saw in the middle of Dan's routine. Getting ready for his dismount. Double back. Good landing. These guys are really hanging in there. They're doing a job. Doing some guide positively by his coach, Nagasaki. Here we have a look again at Dan. His double back dismount, 1, 2, sticks the landing. These guys are really going for the goal.
9.50 for Dan. Lee is going to try to be catching back up.
That's right. This is the man who can do it. He's a seasoned international competitor, has been a world champion on this event. He's got an excellent routine. Working well. 1 1/4 somersault in a pike position. Great swinging movements. He's solid. He's not going to let this goal get away from him. Here's his cast to upper arms. Nice amplitude. Just nails that straddle cut to an L seat. Solid handstand. Absolute control. And his dismount will be coming out to Stutzker to handstand, and just nails it. This Mr. Lee is not giving away a thing. He knows he's doing well. Look at the smile on his face. Look at the height on that double back. And doesn't move a muscle on that landing.
Well, 9.6 was a great score for Mr. Lee.
They're just chasing each other. Look at how close those standings are. Only 0.1 separating Mr. Lee, Brad, and Dan. This is a very close race. Extremely exciting competition. They're out to take first, and here, his teammate, Danny Gaudet, is not out of it either. Danny needs to, however, beat Marion Penoff with at least a 9.7 to get up into second place, so we'll see how Dan does. Not typically Dan's strongest event, but he is working very cleanly. Good one-arm giant, nice clean, stalder to handstand. Let's see if he can nail this dismount. Good full-in double. Let go a little bit early, but a clean routine. So let's watch the dismount. He's lining up. He does let go a little bit early, which gets him traveling forward a bit, makes it harder to land, but he does hang on to that landing. He gets the 9.7. That does put him ahead of Marion Penoff. We've got the leader in first place, Brad Peters, and Dan Gaudet in second.
Well, hold on. Here's Mr. Lee.
Well, if anybody can get at least a 9.8, it's Mr. Lee. So we'll just have to hold our breath and see if Brad and Dan can hang on to that 1-2 position. Mr. Lee starting off with a nice stallered handstand. Clean one-arm giant, very nice. He'll be putting in a release move. Very high hecht, a little bit close to the bar, but he pulls out of it. Doesn't stop, he's still moving. This guy is not going to get anything. Let anything get in his way. He's moving into his dismount. It's been super clean so far. Triple back, dismountment. Oh, Mr. Lee, unfortunately for him, falls. He's still got the smile on his face, but Brad Peters will have an even bigger smile because he's still our leader and will be our overall champion. There's Mr. Lee's release, a nice hex half turn over the bar. Watch his dismount. He gets good height for his triple back somersault, opens a little bit early, falls forward, but an excellent competitor. He's still smiling, even though that fall cost him the overall championships.
Well, let's see what the high bar standings are. Here we have Brad Peters and Marion Penoff tied for first place in the high bars. Let's see what it does to the overall standings.
The winner
There they
of the
are.
gold medal.
Brad Peters has won. Dan Gaudet second. Marion third.
57.65
That's fantastic. It's been a
from
seesaw
Canada,
competition
Brad
with
Peters.
these competitors within tenths of a point from each other all the way. And there he is, a very happy young man, Brad Peters, who has put in a solid evening of excellent routines.
It must be wonderful for these fellows, too, to beat someone of such international fame as Mr. Lee.
That's right. It's great to win, and it's even better to win at home. And so I'm very happy for Brad. And here's another happy gentleman. There's Dan coming second. Also another very excellent performer and a good, solid routine tonight. No misses. So we have 1, 2, and in third place, that young Bulgarian, Marion Penoff, who also did excellent routines. Nice, clean work for Marion. He well
These
deserves
are
to be
your
third,
men's
too.
all-round champions.
It's been an exciting day of competition. Dave, we saw some great upsets.
We saw a great meet by both Brad Peters and Dan Gaudet. They just pulled through fantastically. They had solid routines, consistent. Brad winning,